The first time I saw my brother after the action, I couldn't believe like what happened. I was just so sad, like how could this possibly happen to my younger brother, my best friend? And I just couldn't stop crying. I've never cried so much in my life, and it was just straight prayers from there on.
What's your favorite story? Stories have been around since the beginning of time and are one of the most powerful ways to share information. I'm Cashflow with Disrupt Gaming, and this is Tides, Episode 2. Shadow 20Z is one of the top Tekken players in the world. He currently ranks number 2 in the United States and 14 worldwide.
Jordan, also known as Shadow 20Z, and I'm a professional Tekken 7 player for Disrupt Gaming.
In late July, I traveled to Chicago to meet Shadow and his family, and this is their story.
Started playing fighting games maybe 2014. A lot of games with my brother and my cousins. At school, it wasn't really common to be a professional gamer. I sort of, my friends knew about it, stuff like that, and they watched it actually. They really supported me, so did my family. The name Shadow 20Z came from my favorite childhood cartoon being Sonic the Hedgehog. My favorite character was Shadow the Hedgehog. The 20Z came from a friend. He sort of created the group online on Xbox, and I just stuck with it.
EVO is the largest fighting game tournament of the year. This year's tournament had almost 2,000 entrants, which was the largest ever. As the number 2 player in the United States, Shadow entered the event with very high expectations.
How are we feeling, Shadow?
Good.
Feeling strong?
Mm-hmm.
Pumped? He's gonna win.
Yeah, sure. Don't look pumped, but I am.
For those unfamiliar with the format of FGC events, it's double elimination. If you lose early, your path to the championship gets twice as hard. The first day of the event, he went undefeated, beating all 5 of his opponents. We knew the path to a championship was going to get a lot tougher from there.
When I decided on college, I didn't really think too much about the gaming path at the moment, but I was originally going to go to McKendree University in St. Louis, and then the last minute I switched to Central Michigan University because they offered me more money, more scholarships, so I just took that instead. It was very interesting. At first it was different. It was very uncomfortable at first, living with 3 other people that I didn't know, and we were all pretty much totally different. And then I sort of grew into them and started to become real good friends with them and just meeting people and everything. So it started off fun. I majored in chemistry and focused on that very hard, and it sort of took away from my other classes. After my first semester in college, I got very depressed, and I sort of used Tekken as an outlet. I played Tekken on Tag Tournament 2 with Junior, a lot at home. He'd just play me online.
No way.
Got him.
Eventually, I got to the point where I started skipping classes because I just felt like I couldn't keep up with everything. And so it got pretty much behind. And yeah, it was very tough, but eventually it got a little out of control. I wish that I could have talked to my family and stuff about it, but I didn't want to, disappoint them or worry them. So I sort of just tried to handle it on my own, but that didn't really work out. But now, after my accident, I had a 4-story fall, lost one lung, and I have some back problems now. So that's the aftermath of it. But I'm learning to get through it, manage my pain, and yeah, Tekken's very, very, very important to me now because after my accident in the hospital, didn't really have any desire to keep playing Tekken. And then I had just missed Evo actually. We were planning to go to Evo. And then my brother, Junior, he bought a PlayStation 4 and when Tekken 7 was released, he brought it to the hospital so I can play, and keep up. And that sort of just kept me determined to keep playing. And so that's part of the reason why I just keep playing, just to make him proud, because I know he has a lot of faith in me.
I'm Nathaniel Jordan, Junior 20Z, attacking player for Disrupt Gaming. I started playing like a week or two after Shadow. He got into the game because of a friend called Chris, also known as Danger 20Z. So it was about a week or two before the new Tekken Tag Tournament 2 game came out. So he really wanted to get into it, so I got into it with him, and I just started pushing him because the game was hype. I would always play Shadow when I get home from work, and whenever he wasn't, busy with school. So while he was in college, we always just play online with each other, just to stay in contact. That was like our bond, Tekken, just playing against each other. The first time I saw my brother after the accident, I couldn't believe what happened. I was just so sad, how could this possibly happen to my younger brother, my best friend? And I just couldn't stop crying. I've never cried so much in my life, and it was just straight prayers from there on. I would come to the hospital, we'd spend the night there. They was gracious to let us spend the night in the room, or we'd pick a hotel and stay out there for a couple weeks. And I'll bring a setup and Tekken 7 just to keep him sharp and let him play the game, because I didn't want him to miss out on the experience, because I know before all this happened, he had the chance to be one of the best players in the world.
When I first woke up, I couldn't really move my legs. I could move my arms a little. I was very out of it. But I spent just most of my time sleeping, and then eventually I had to do rehab to learn how to walk again. I got moved out of intensive care. At that time, I was in another facility, just doing therapy to, finish building up strength to walk. And then I got released maybe 3 days later and just spent a lot of time at home practicing.
drive to play Tekken after he recovered was just amazing. He started doing wonderful in tournaments, and I think Tekken definitely played a real big part in his recovery.
I didn't think too much of competing. Just played junior, at home. And then KIT came up, and it was my first tournament since my accident. And I got second place there. It was a very good performance. I lost a little margin, but yeah. After that, I felt like, yeah, I should keep doing this.
I didn't want him to miss out on anything, so I would always do like 11 to 11 shifts to try to get my brother out there to showcase his skills. I didn't really care too much about me, but I just really wanted my brother to get sponsored and show that he can hang with all of the best players out there.
The story isn't just about Shadow. It's also about his family and the people who are helping him become the best. His brother Junya works full-time so that Shadow can travel to as many events as possible. We actually sat down with Junya's manager in South Chicago to find out how involved they are in Shadow's success.
Lee Easton, I've been with the company Red Lobster for now 16 years. I know he plays games and he's always traveling. He's always excited and telling us how it goes and, if he wins or, worked with Nathaniel for seven years. And so every time he goes out of town, I will always ask him to bring me a shot glass because I collect them. And I tell him all the time, so what did you win? Did you win this time? Or we get excited. We love him. But, like I said, every time he's here, unless he has to go out of town. So I'm proud of him.
After KIT was originally when I joined Twitter. And then I got a lot of followers very quick. And people, supported me. And, asking me stuff about Claudio, stuff like that. And so, I kept playing, and I was doing very good at tournaments.
Since I joined Disrupt Gaming, it kind of motivated me to play as good as my brother. Just watching him just win. Evo, I have a really tough route, but I believe with enough hard work and practice with my brother, I think I can get that top 8. I got a few legends I have to go through, but it's not the first time I beat some legends, so I'm just gonna go there with a clear mind and try to get that W.
Players that are very strong and consistent would say are players like Knee, Low High.
Kudons is one of the guys I really want to beat to get past.
Nash. You want to be able to compete with them consistently. I feel very confident about Evo. It's probably the most confident I've ever felt about a tournament. I think I'll get top 8 and potentially can win.
After meeting Shadow and his family in Chicago, it was time to head to Vegas. We knew that the player pool was the largest it had ever been, so no matter what happened, we knew it was going to be a tough road. Shadow advanced through the first 3 pools of the tournament without a single loss. It wasn't until midway through day 2 that he ran into some stiff competition. He faced off against a relatively unknown player from Pakistan named Arslan Ash. In a tough series, Shadow lost 2-1. This was right outside of top 16, and this made Shadow's path to the top 8 that much more difficult. His first matchup in the loser's bracket was against a former Evo champion, Korea's Saint. In the middle of the match, Saint experienced controller difficulties and had to take time out to repair his device. Despite this, Shadow was able to advance. His next opponent is one of Korea's top players and the current world number 19 player, Chanel. Shadow's played him before and beaten him before, and this time he was able to advance again. In order for Shadow to make the Evo finals, he had to win one more match. He he found himself faced against Korea's Lohai, a top 5 player and the 2018 EVO champion. Shadows only had one other opportunity to face off against Lohai. He wasn't successful then, and unfortunately, he fell short this time as well. This ended his tournament run in 9th place out of almost 2,000 contestants.
When he was in the hospital and I brought the game to him, he actually beat me and told me I was still garbage.
My biggest advice, I would say if you feel like you don't want to disappoint your family or whatever, that's okay to disappoint them. But at the end of the day, they're still gonna love you, and they won't let anything bad happen to you. So whenever you feel like you need to talk to somebody, you should do it. And, depression, sometimes you don't want to bother people with your problems, or you just, feel like they can't relate, but that's okay. If they can help you, talking about it helps a lot.
After EVO, Shadow will be competing in several more Tekken events in order to secure his place at the Tekken World Tour Finals in Bangkok. This occurs at the beginning of December and will crown the best Tekken player in the world. If you're interested in following Shadow for the rest of the season, you can find his social media links as well as Disrupt Gaming's in the description of this video. We really appreciate you guys watching, and we're looking forward to episode 3.